they've been able to get these deals done. You know, the sky was falling when the Bucs win the Super Bowl and they're able to re-sign all their guys back. The sky is falling. they're able once again to re-sign all their guys. The sky is falling with Levante David and Jamel Dean supposedly going somewhere else, and they re-sign them. So I think this is where you have faith in Jason Light and Mike Greenberg and Jacqueline Davidson over there, because they know what they're doing. And Bucs fans, just sit back, relax, put your seatbelt on, because the rumors will be flying about Mike Evans supposedly going to those places that I mentioned in Kansas City, Houston, even the Chicago Bears. But at the end of the day, my prediction right now, it is a lock. Baker Mayfield will come back. Mike Evans will come back. Antoine Winfield will come back. Tristan Wirfs will come back. Levante David will come back. This organization and the administration knows what the hell they're doing. Just sit back and relax. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off this show? Because you know them, you love them, you got to have them. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I don't want to waste times with intros. We got the returning Mr. Denis Phillips of ABC Action News, one of the busiest men in the business, meteorologist, sports prognosticator here on the Sports Web. Of course, welcoming him back. And then, of course, the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions and Amped Up Sports. With that being said, let's go ahead and get his walk-up music on. Here we go. There you go, Mr. Denis Phillips. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Hey, Peter, I forgot what that walk-up music was. Is that a tornado siren?
It is a tornado siren, my friend. That means you're in the building. As always, we're glad to have you back on the evolution. With that being said, let's go ahead and get this man on. Here we go. Former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports. And oh, by the way, he got a piece of the net from Coach Raheem. Mr. Leo Haggerty, welcome to the Sports Web, the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Talk about that a little bit. USF 15 consecutive victories. And because you were only one of the only media members at the time covering this team, whether they win or lost, you get a piece of the net.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Peter, it was great. And Dennis, good to see you again. And I'll tell you what, that hurricane music, that's not walk up, that's run to the car and escape music. That's for sure.
It's a true story. How you been?
Good. Hey, hanging in there. But I'll tell you what,
Good.
last night was special because I can remember back in November, I was the only media member there. And I asked Coach about the season, that and the other thing. He said, look, I remember who's there. I keep receipts. And he said, when we cut the nets down, you're going to get a piece of the net. And I got a piece of the net last night. Hey, man's a class act. Peter, you've been out there 2-3 times now. I'll tell you what, they got something special going on out there, don't they?
Well, and Dennis, you talked about this because I posted this on my Facebook wall, and that's how we were able to make this happen again. And I'm hoping we can make this happen every Wednesday night because I enjoyed the heck out of you talking sports. But let's go to USF, and then, of course, we'll talk about the Bucs and your favorite team in the Tampa Bay community, of course, the Tampa Bay Rays. But USF, what a run, right?
Yeah, I was going to bring this up to Leo. I was watching. So when I mentioned in your post, I'm like, I just can't imagine them not getting into the tourney. Well, I was watching Scott Van Pelt last night on SportsCenter, and they actually had a nice little feature on USF, and they talked about all the games they'd won in a row, that they were a top 25 team. But I'll tell you, and I was not familiar with the actual formula, but apparently there is a formula known as a net formula. I'm not even really sure exactly what it is and what it entails. But they were saying, and again, this is just, secondhand, third hand, whatever it is. I mean, it's all speculation until the committee gets going. But they said USF actually showed up as the 88th strongest team in the country based on these calculations. And they said that if USF does not win their tournament, they're not going to make it in. Now, they did say Rutgers was a team similar a couple of years ago that had a very similar numerical value, and they did get in because the committee decided to go ahead and go with them. But when I did see that, it concerned me a little bit because that it isn't necessarily a cakewalk to get through the tourney with the teams that are in there.
No,
you know what, Dennis? Here's the problem, and the committee is looking at the entire season. Up until last year, they really put a lot of emphasis on the last 10 to 20 games, what you were doing in January, February, and March. Now, they're saying, well, we're going to weigh everything. You know what? You talk about Rutgers. No one has won 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 out of 21. Their last loss was January 7th. They haven't lost a game since then. The fact that this is even happening, and you know what, guys? We're used to Florida teams getting screwed after what happened to Florida State. And you know what, Dennis? They're not getting in unless they win the tournament. And that will be a tragedy. That will be a travesty. And believe me, there will be an outcry in this state and probably across the country for a team that has won that many games in a row. And they're saying, well, your schedule isn't strong enough. Well, guess what? Who are you supposed to play? They're on the schedule. They're in the conference. You're going to take a seventh-place team out of the Big Ten and say, oh, because USF got to the finals but didn't win and had to play 3 games in 3 days, which they're never going to have to do in the tournament. You know what? That's just ridiculous. This net thing is crazy. There should be at least 2 teams coming from the AAC. That conference is that strong.
It is. It really is that strong. And what a story. 3 returning starters, what this coach has done. I definitely think he's coach of the year. With that being said, let's shift gears to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dennis, how happy were you and relieved to a certain degree with all the rumors thrown out there about Mike Evans re-signing with the Bucs Monday?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who kept talking about Kansas City. A lot of people kept saying, maybe he was looking for another ring. They don't really have a true number 1 in KC right now. And, Rashid Rice is obviously a solid player, but they didn't have anybody of Mike Evans' caliber. So I'll be honest, I was a little surprised that it went as quickly as it did. I mean, I kind of thought he might test the free agent market a little bit more, get the numbers up, and then come back and say, okay, Tampa, what are you going to do for me? But he got it done quickly. I mean, I don't disagree with you. I mean, as quickly as that was done, you got to figure Baker Mayfield, well, at least you had a hope that Baker Mayfield does the same thing. Although, again, same words out there. He's testing the free agent market, wants to see, and I don't blame these guys. I mean, there's some people who think, that they should, give him a hometown discount and whatnot. And, I'm not one of those guys. It's their profession. It's their livelihood. They want to, I get it. How much is too much and how much is enough to last for your lifetime and your kid's lifetime? But in my mind, look, they've got a 10-year shelf life. They want to make enough to make it for their lifetime and their kids' lifetime. So I don't begrudge them doing that at all. Hopefully the Bucs come to the table with Mayfield as well.
Now, I know Leo's laughing about this because we've kind of talked about this ad nauseum. Yours truly, Leo, of course, Harry the Greek, they're talking about numbers. Harry and Leo thought he would take $40 million. It's being reported by Pewter Report that they're starting out at $44 million. I put a question out there today, Dennis. If you were the GM, so I'm going to make you the GM for the night. You're Jason Light. How much would you pay Baker Mayfield? Would it be $25 million? Would it be $30 million? $35 million, or would you go with the $40 million? Why or why not? Or would you move on from Baker Mayfield and go with one of the quarterbacks that Leo and my colleague Harry have mentioned, in a Russell Wilson, in a possible Kirk Cousins, or drafting one at 26?
Without copping out, I'd pay him what the market demands, what the market bears. I mean, we all know that. That is just the day and age that we live in. If somebody is going to pay something, you've got to pay more. And Baker has not had a stellar professional career up until this point. I mean, he had some flashes. He was popular in Cleveland, even though it didn't really go all that well. And, he now sees an opportunity. And who's to say that he's going to continue to excel or continue to increase his value? I mean, now is the time for him to get his payday. And as far as I'm concerned, I probably even begrudge him less than I would Mike Evans, only because Mike Evans has a Hall of Fame resume, right? Mm-hmm. He will be Hall of Fame, probably first ballot. And Baker Mayfield is not that guy, has never been that guy at this point. I mean, maybe he turns the corner, but he's got to get the money while he can. So I have no idea what a GM is going to pay in terms of cap and everything. But bottom line is, again, I don't begrudge him, man. He is providing for his family and his kids and everybody else. And I say he gets what he can get, and whatever that is, whatever the market bears.
There you go. Leo Haggerty, you're GM of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You just got done re-signing Mike Evans. You franchise Antoine Winfield Jr. How much do you pay Baker Mayfield?
If the growing rate is $44 million, I'm paying him $45. But here's what I'm doing, Peter. I'm only guaranteeing $45. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it in as a signing bonus and a 3-year contract. That way, with the signing bonus, let's say the signing bonus is $30 million. Yeah. Then it's broken down $10 million, $10 million, $10 million every year for the cap. Then you pay him $15 million guaranteed money, and then the rest of it, I don't care if you're going to make it 80, 90, 100, $110 million. Those last 2 years, that's not guaranteed money. So it's only going to hit you for $10 million against the cap, which is that guaranteed signing bonus. That's doable. But again, Peter, we talked about this. Jason Light's hands are maybe tied with this in terms of what he can do right now. If someone comes in and just blows Baker out of the water, and Dennis, here's the real conundrum in this whole thing. He can give them a hometown discount as long as it's not a Texas or a Florida team, because they're the only states that don't have state income tax. So, if somebody offers him $40 million, he can take 35 here and probably make more when it's all said and done. The conundrum is the agent gets 4% of the contract. He wants the most money to get with that. So again, you kind of got two things that are pulling him away. And Dennis, I can't agree with you more. This is his chance to make a payday. God, go get it.
Yeah, and you don't want to get stuck. You don't want to get stuck with the whole Russell Wilson thing that's been going on either, right? I mean, look at what that's doing to Denver. So I mean, Baker has had he had a great season with the Bucs, but has he shown in the last several years that you can expect him to have that again next year? We all hope he will, but if he doesn't, I mean, boy, conundrum is the right word, because who's to say, and how much of an investment do you want to make after just one really solid season?
Yeah, and that's why I go 30 to 35 million at tops. I go 32 million. I think, that's the compromise. Furthermore, I think they eventually will get this deal done. You don't hire Liam Cohen and, ask Baker. You consult Baker about that hire. You don't re-sign a Mike Evans unless you got Baker Mayfield. So I believe they're going to get this done. I think it's just a rumor out there. It's just being put out there. We heard the same stuff about Mike Evans, and I was told by somebody in the know that is close to that situation. Don't believe everything that you read and hear. So,
Peter,
yes,
Peter, who's going to sign Saquon?
Well, I tell you right now, I like the Houston Texans, because look, if the Houston Texans get a running back, and Singletary performed well, but if Saquon Barkley gets an opportunity to be a free agent, because the Giants, of course, they're not going to franchise him. If he can stay healthy, to me, he's a difference maker for the Houston Texans. What do you say?
Yeah, I was thinking. I mean, you guys know I'm a Penn State apologist. I'm a Penn State grad, so that's my love. And Saquon has always been my guy, and yeah, obviously with the injuries. And by the way, that first injury happened against the Bucs, if you remember.
Yep.
When he had the knee, years ago. But I'm kind of looking. I'm wondering what Minnesota might do. I'm not saying that he's going there, but boy, now that they've pretty much said Madison's not going to be their guy, and Chandler has been, he's a young guy. He's shown flashes. You gotta figure Minnesota might be in the free agent market as well. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Leo, where do you see Barkley going? I mean, it's been rumored the last couple of years the Bucs would trade for him, but they're definitely happy with Rachaad White at this point, at this juncture. So you're not going to go after another running back. Where could you see Mr. Barkley going?
I think the first thing you look at, gentlemen, is which team has a natural grass field. Because when you're looking at a running back and he's getting up there in years, he wants to go to a place where he's not taking that pounding on his legs on an artificial turf. Guys, you're going to hate me for this, but Philadelphia Eagles are sitting right out there. There's a guy that fits perfectly into their offense, a running back who can catch the ball and can tote it 20 to 25 times a game. That's a team to look at. A second team you want to look at, again, dumb as it sounds, the Green Bay Packers. There's two teams that I think may take a look at what it's going to cost to bring Saquon Barkley there.
Well, it's certainly possible, Dennis, because A.J. Dillon doesn't look like he's going to come back with the Packers. So maybe that's a situation that you look at. You have the Eagles there. You have DeAndre Swift. He was successful when they decided to run the ball. And as soon as they got away from that aspect of their game, that offense struggled. What about Chicago? Because we do have some friends there in Chicago. Would that be a perfect fit for him, Dennis, in your opinion? Saquon Barkley in a Bears uniform.
Yeah, well, it also depends, I guess, who they draft for their quarterback. Do they keep with Justin Fields, or do they, or do they, go with every?
How do you buy that? What do you do with that? I mean, would you keep Justin Fields? Do you think they're going to keep Justin Fields, or do you go after Caleb Williams, or do you trade out of that pick?
I mean, everybody's saying, it just seems like everybody's thinking that Williams is going to be their guy. I don't know. I've never been a Justin Fields fan for a number one reason. He originally committed to Penn State and then backed off of that commitment. So from that point on, I've held it against him for years and years. But I like the cheat code quarterbacks, and I realize that it's hard for them to stay healthy. But when Lamar was MVP and he led that team almost to the Super Bowl, and I've heard that Justin may go to Atlanta. I've heard they've been looking at him, although I just read a rumor today saying that Kirk Cousins was looking to buy a house in Atlanta. So there's there's another rumor going around the mill. But for me, I don't know. I just kind of think that at this point in time, I think that Philly prediction's pretty darn. I've heard somebody else say that too. I mean, that backfield was a mess. So this is the time of the year, and there's so many good free agent running backs out there now that are interesting. But you're right, the Bucs certainly don't need it. I mean, Rachaad White was the man. I mean, if you're a fantasy football player, and I think a lot of people out there probably are, Rachaad was a top 5 running back the last half of that season. I mean, he was a beast.
Yeah, he was a beast. He could catch the ball out of the backfield. He got stronger and stronger as soon as they replaced Matt Filer there at the left guard. Situation went with Aaron Stinney. So it seems like they're very excited. I wouldn't be surprised, Dennis, if they do go after another running back in the draft, maybe a Ray Davis, because of Liam Cohen and, his being familiar with that running back out of Kentucky. With that being said, I know you got to run here in just a little bit, so we won't keep you too long because you're one of the busiest men out there. You give us a
well, the crew hasn't been in here to record some of the stuff yet, so I'm still good for the time being. I'll let you know when the lights come up over there. Then I gotta go.
All right, I gotta ask you really quick. Kansas City, were you surprised they won another Super Bowl? In your opinion, do they have the best opportunity to be a three-peat winner?
They got Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I didn't think I thought when Baltimore went to San Francisco and blew them out in San Francisco earlier in the year, I thought that was your team.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, my history is I'm not a Ravens guy. I grew up a Baltimore Colts fan. So, I mean, I've always had something kind of against the Ravens just for whatever reason. But, man, I'll tell you, when they went into San Francisco, did what they did, I didn't think anybody was going to beat them. Their rushing attack was suspect, obviously, with all the injuries. You know, and honestly, if you look at that team, offensively, they did not have a ton of talent, but yet they kept finding a way to do it. So, no, I did not think Kansas City – I just did not think Kansas City was going to win. I thought Buffalo would beat them. I really thought Buffalo would beat them in the playoffs, and clearly I didn't know what I was talking about.
Well, I think a lot of people thought Buffalo was going to win, including yours truly here. I thought Buffalo could beat them. Let me ask you, Leo, do you feel like Kansas City can win 3 in a row, even without a number 1 wide receiver? But you look at this draft, Leo, you know all too well, and I think this is the reason why the Bucs were able to sign Mike Evans, because there is a plethora, not plethora, Ray Kennedy, a plethora of wide receivers in this draft. So if Kansas City could get one of those, does that make them a 3-time possibility, a 3-time repeat here?
You know what, Peter? I'm going to quote the great Dave Alexander, who covers the Kansas City Chiefs for us at Night Sports Production and Amped Up Sports. I learned not to bet against Michael Jordan. I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes again. Yeah, as long as he's under center, they got a shot for a 3-peat and possibly a 4-bagger. So you heard it first right here.
Yeah, because, I mean, Leo, he had nobody to throw to this year, and he still did it.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Exactly. And what does that tell you? He had guys that were getting open by the system, and because he was able to find them, that's amazing. But you know what? As long as he's got Kelsey at tight end, I'm going to preach to this. The thing that makes a quarterback great is a good offensive line, a really good running back, and a tight end that can get over the middle. And you know what? They're not doing too bad with that.
Well, of course, you know, when Donovan Smith is getting away with whatever he wants to do with holding guys, of course, you know, and you saw that all throughout the game. I got to ask you this. You're a Penn State guy, Dennis. Chop Robinson, how would he look in pewter and red? What do you think of that kid at 26?
Yeah, he certainly had some speed, didn't he? He surprised a lot of people in the combine. You know, Penn State has a knack of putting out some pretty solid talent on that line, and you know, I personally I have not looked at one single draft, you know, whatever they is when they you know, what do they do, the predictions? What's the guy on ESPN who
Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
That's it, Mel Kiper. He has his predictions, you know, and I mean, I haven't looked at any of them. I mean, I other than the fact that, you know, I figured, you know, Williams is going to be number 1 just because. And I'd even and by the way, this is me personally. I'm not sold on that guy. And clearly I know nothing. But I remember, and it's not even the talent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he has the makeup to be the kind of leader that's needed to be in the NFL. And I bring up a couple of examples. You remember the one game? And I don't know, maybe it doesn't do it.
The Washington game, Dennis, you're talking exactly right. When he did the cry-a-thon in the
Yes. If I'm a leader of men on a professional football team and I see a guy who's crying with his mom after losing a game, I'm sorry. I don't know. You're going to have to earn the respect maybe more than somebody else would have to in my book.
Well, and there's all kinds of red flags out there, guys. I mean, you hear that his dad is asking for part ownership. You also hear, well, you heard that he didn't want to take any medical evaluations. He doesn't talk to the media. I mean, I don't know if that's the guy I want to draft number 1, and that's why I don't necessarily buy the Bears going away from Justin Fields. I think you keep Fields, you build around him, you trade out of that pick, you get Washington because they're a bunch of suckers. They trade multiple first-round picks. They already have Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator, and you steadily build the team around Justin Fields, whether that's an offensive lineman, whether that's an edge rusher, whether that's a wide receiver. That's how you do that. And you can get all those players if you trade that pick instead of keeping it. I just don't buy this Caleb Williams kind of deal. I don't. Let me ask you this. Do you buy that the Rays are going to get a new stadium in St. Pete, Dennis? Because, of course, we're on I Love St. Pete, but it's okay. talk freely the way you want to here. Barry Burton of the St. Pete Council said this today in the Tampa Bay Times. It's very complicated. We're in the thick of it, but I don't have a timeline. What I was going to say is water is wet. What is new with this Rays Stadium situation? How do you see it playing out?
You know what? That's news to me. I had not heard that. So, look, I think there's a significant number of people out there who felt as though that this team would draw more in Tampa than in St. Pete, just purely because it's more centrally located. I think there's a lot of people who agree with that. But I'll be honest, I did not hear that. I thought it was a done deal. I mean, I regardless of whether people agreed with it or not, I kind of thought, I mean, right? Weren't the stories that it was a done deal? What am I missing? I don't know. I guess not.
Yeah, Leo, I mean, what do you think? Because, again, this seems like, to quote here a weather term, very ominous, like there's something on the horizon that could mess this stadium deal up. So what do you say, Leo?
Well, it's not a 10-day forecast. It's a 10-year forecast right now. And that's what's scary with the Rays. I'm just afraid with Stu Sternberg, we're looking at a repeat of Major League, the film. He wants this team not to win so he can move them. It scares me as to what's going on with the Rays ownership. The fact that, they want everybody to pony up money for a stadium. Well, those days are over. That ship has sailed. I don't care where you are. You're not going to be able to get the taxpayers to actually come up and say, yeah, we're going to spend taxpayer money to build you a stadium totally. If the Bucs came out with it, it wouldn't happen. If the Rays, if the Lightning, no, it's not happening anymore. Those days are over. You're going to have to pony up at least half, maybe more. And I don't think Stu Sternberg wants to do that. So, yeah, until that ground's broken, guys, I'm not holding my breath. That's for sure.
Yeah, 2.4 billion reasons why maybe the city of St. Pete are not going to necessarily do that deal. We'll see how it happens. Of course, I want the Rays to stay in the Bay Area, whether it's St. Pete. I'm a little bit biased, but if it happens in St. Pete, so be it. If it happens in Tampa, so be it. If it happens in Timbuktu, so be it. If it's by us. But can you tell me if the Rays will spend more than $90 million, Dennis, or will they be uncomfortable in spending $90 million? Quote Mr. Sternberg there, which makes me uncomfortable to talk about. This team continues to not invest in that product. With that being said, how disappointed were you with the on-the-field results, especially in the postseason?
That's a debate that a lot of people will have, and it seems to me, look, you guys know me. My second son is named Fame. When you go into the Trop, I mean, I have been an apologist for that team since day one, and at the end of the day, this team, just my opinion, this team is built the way that they win games, and who's going to argue with their success? I mean, look, they have a nothing budget, and they're always in the playoff hunt. They're always there. But I'll tell you, to me, playoff baseball is different than regular season baseball. And I've been following baseball for 6 decades, and it has always been my sport. And when you look at a 3-game series or a 7-game series or whatever, you want your studs to be there. And I think that's where the Rays kind of have faltered, that they don't have those guys. And they've got a great team. Over the long run, over a series, over a month, over 2 months, over a season, that team has been really competitive, amazingly competitive. I mean, we take for granted just how amazing this team has been. But when you get into the playoffs, it's another animal entirely, and you need your studs. In fact, remember, when the Rays made it farther in the playoffs, I guess it was the year they made the series, that was when they had Charlie Morton, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Charlie Morton was a free agent hire who they got, and they paid more than I ever thought he would get or deserved, but he brought that stability, and I believe he showed that team how he had the veteran presence that you always hear about. Mm-hmm. And I just feel as though that's something this team will always be lacking, because we never get to the veteran presence because that player is shipped out for the way that they do it, and it's hard to complain or argue with the results, but in the playoffs, I find it hard to believe they're ever going to get over the hump unless they have some of those guys on that team.
I completely agree. Go ahead, Leo.
You know what, Dennis? Your insight is impeccable with this, because what happens in the playoffs is that 5-man pitching rotation goes down to 2 or 3 guys. And that's where the Rays get hurt. They lost McClanahan last year. There's their number one. There's their ace. Now they're going into the playoffs, and they just don't have that. And this team is built on pitching and defense. I can still remember asking Joe Madden, Joe, how much of baseball is pitching? He said 90%. I said, well, Joe, what's the other 10%? He said pitching. They should call it pitch ball. And the fact, and again, don't jump ship with the Rays, because look who they lost to. They lost to the eventual world champion, the Texas Rangers, who, oh, by the way, they were 11-0 on the road. That's unheard of. And what bothers me the most about the Rays is that they won't take that leap of faith for that one big bat that they can get into the lineup. They're going to have pitching. They're always going to have pitching. That's what that team is built on. They're always going to have defense. And I just think right now, Dennis, and you may agree or disagree with me, I think they're scared to death after the Wander Franco incident. They're just kind of like, let's sit back and see what happens. Let's not make a big push.
No, I agree completely. I mean, that came out of left field, obviously, and they did commit to a player. They put their future on that player, and we all know what happened. So I think you're right. I think ultimately, I guess they have to wait and see how it plays out, because at this point, it's still going through that process. I find it hard to believe that Wander Franco would end up back in the majors, regardless of what happens legally, just how Major League Baseball handles this kind of situations before, which is, not the same thing, obviously, but there have been similar situations, with pitchers in the last couple of years, and it's been really tough. The MLB is just not tolerant whatsoever with anything in this way, nor should they be. And at this point, that's where they are. I think they got to wait, but it is so unfortunate for the team. You got to feel for management. They didn't do anything wrong here. They did commit to somebody that they really believed was going to be that player, and it blew up in their face, and that was not their fault.
I tell you right now, a young player that could be very exciting to watch, whether he starts with the team or not, Junior Caminero. Talk about him and talk about your Rays expectations right now, because we're going to revisit this conversation, and I'll ask you again, how many wins right now, Denis Phillips of ABC Action News, do you expect this team to have in 2024?
Yeah, I think the over-under in Vegas, which, by the way, we haven't talked about that yet. I've not been on the show since the Hard Rock's been open.
Yes.
So, as I'm sitting here looking at scores. But I believe that the over-under on them is about 92, 91 and a half, something like that. And, in the AL East, which the Orioles have gotten better, the Yankees are better. I mean, Toronto is better. You'd think it's hard for them to reach that number. And yet, for some reason, they always seem to be at it or above. So I'm not going to question that management. They know what they're doing when it comes to regular season wins. Kevin Cash has been great as a manager of a lot of young players, finding a way to get W's. But it all boils down to, are people going to be accepting and happy with making it to the first round of the playoffs? Maybe they will. But I think for the folks who are looking for a World Series, as Leo and I just said, I think it's going to take more veteran presence, something that they just sorely lack. And I'm not sure that that's really in the cards for them. I don't know if they're ever the team. I mean, they can get a rental around the All-Star break, and they've done it before. But overall, I have to wonder if this is the makeup that will get you World Series. But like you said, I mean, they were no worse against the Rangers than anybody else was although that World Series was a great World Series anyway, so that's another story.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And go out to you, Leo. I mean, right now, Junior Caminero, big-time young player, Josh Lowe there. I mean, they have some pieces. It comes down to pitching. How many wins would you say right now as we speak that you would expect the Rays to have?
Peter, honest to God, I think 92 is the right number.
Okay.
I think Vegas may be right on the money with that one. But my concern is, when are the pitchers coming back, and can they stay healthy on the mound? That's the big thing, because I can still remember when the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Rays were having those brushback issues, and Cash came out of the dugout one time and yelled at the opposing dugout, said, "Hey, look, you want to have this? Fine. I got 6 guys in the bullpen that throws 98 plus. Let's go." And he does. He's got guys that can really bring it. The key to the Rays is they got to get to the bullpen. They got to have the lead where they can get there. It's not a team that plays catch up. They got to play from the lead. And that's the biggest thing they got. They lost Glasnow. He went out to the Dodgers. And that's what bothers me the most. Dennis, I don't know about you, but you said, we're never going to see those veterans come in. And that's what drives me nuts, is that, dear God, you get a guy there, you brought him up through your minor league system, you drafted him, you put him out there, and he does well. And now you're saying, well, geez, we can't afford him? Well, why would you want to do good with the Rays? Because all you're going to do is end up someplace else.
Right. And then on top of it, you got to spend 15th or above in order to win a World Series, because, by the way, guys, there hasn't been a team that's been under that since 2003's Florida Marlins, now the Miami Marlins, that won a World Series that was at 26 at the time. So you got to spend 15th or above, and if you don't, you're most likely not going to win a World Series, right, Dennis?
And we've talked about this. I mean, I'm looking at the rotation. It's most people who are not avid baseball fans, or even decent baseball fans, have never heard of any of the Rays starters, projected starters for this upcoming season. I mean, you've got Eflin, you've got Savali, you've got Luttrell, you've got Taj Bradley, and Pepiot, Pepiot, I mean, I'm looking at these and the injuries. 2 things I want to mention. One, and I don't know the answer. I'm just throwing things out here. Have the Rays starting pitchers, have they had an abnormally higher amount of injury than other teams' starting pitchers? I don't know the answer. It feels like it to me, like they have. It feels like we're getting Tommy John a heck of a lot more than a lot of the other teams have. I don't know if that's usage. I don't know. Might not even be the case, but it just, in the last 2 seasons, it's really felt that way to me.
All right, so I tell you what, we'll get you out of here on that. Go ahead and give us a forecast for the week, for the weekend coming up here, and also promote yourself, Mr. Denis Phillips, here on the Sports Web.
By the way, the weather looks good after the rain that's out of here tomorrow. We got some more rain coming on Sunday. I do want to mention one more thing on the second point that I was going to bring up. And Peter, we have talked about this, and Leo, I know you understand this as well. It is a slippery slope. It is really difficult for the Rays, because they say that they want to, we need Peter, you just said it. You need a higher payroll if you go back in history, if you're going to actually win a World Series. And then it turns around to Stu, and they'll say, okay, well, I can't afford a higher payroll because we don't have enough bodies. We don't have enough people in the games. And then I turn around to the other side of the coin and I look at the people in the games, because I believe this. I am a baseball fan. You know this, but I believe this to the bottom of my soul, that the most people who are baseball fans of a particular team, they have favorite players. They have players that they've grown up, that they love the name on the back, and I get it. It's not the name on the back, it's the name on the front, whatever. I don't agree with that when it comes to fan loyalty. And the Rays had, in my opinion, one player like that in their entire existence, and that was Evan Longoria. And I'm not saying bring him back, but what I'm saying is, when you lose those players the way that the Rays do it, and I get it, that's what they do to get the young pitching and the young players to compete on a yearly basis, and they've done a great job of it. But I believe you're never going to have that fan loyalty until you have those players that a generation grows up watching and they continue to watch that player. And I get it. Free agency is a thing where people go in other places these days and they go for the highest bidder. And I totally understand that. But the Rays simply have never had those players. And I don't believe until they do, they will get that kind of fan loyalty that'll bring people in and year out. That's just my opinion. But I so believe that strongly.
And you know what, Dennis, real quick to put on that, I think that's what they were hoping Wander Franco was going to be. That generational player that would be with the team. And they signed him to a multi-double-digit year contract for that reason. Now the fans have something to look at and say, hey, this is our guy. I couldn't agree with you more. The fact that there's not a guy who you can root for. Evan Longoria was a perfect example. Here was a guy that came up right through the Carl Crawford, same thing. Mm-hmm. Again, two players they let get away. Not a good thing.
Yeah, and you're right. And that's kind of what I said earlier. I mean, yes, it wasn't the Rays' fault. I mean, you're 100% right. They made that commitment to what would have been the face of that team and was performing such that, I mean, was doing everything on the field that was expected of him. And that's not their fault. So, you're right about that. Maybe they did make that commitment. They did find that guy. And unfortunately, everything played out the way it did, and it just blew up in their face. So I guess now it's, next man up, right?
Yep.
Next man up, and we'll see how it all turns out because Major League Baseball is right around the corner. I know you're excited about it. I'm going to try to find a place maybe over the weekends to do a pregame show, a post show. So, Dennis, you're always welcome. Leo, you're always welcome to get on camera there and talk baseball. And, of course, we'll always talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Once again, Denis Phillips, thanks a lot for your time here on The Evolution. Promote yourself out there. That's what you here.
I got nothing to promote. If people don't know who I am after 30 years here, then I can't win. So I'm the guy who does the weather out there. You can find me on Facebook, all sorts of social media. I'm even doing TikTok now, Peter. So, I've even stepped up my game to that. You guys have a great night.
All right, there you go. Denis Phillips of ABC Action News. Appreciate the time as always. Leo, you want to hang out for a little bit or you got to get out of here too?
No, I got to get out of here too, Peter. But hey, again, a pleasure. We talked about USF. They're still sitting there. The fact, I'll tell you what, I got a feeling they're going to get crucified like FSU did with football because guess what? They're not that blue blood basketball program. And that's a tragedy. That's something. But again, the NCAA, let's admit it. They're bought and sold by TV. They don't want USF in this. They want Duke. They want Purdue. They want all the name schools. They don't want these guys to come up. You know what really ticked them off last year, Peter? When San Diego State and Florida Atlantic are in the Final Four. TV doesn't like that. They want to see Kentucky. They want to see North Carolina. They want to see those schools. So, yeah, I'm hoping that they're wrong. I hope they end up going to Tulsa and winning that game so they go into the tournament with that streak still going. And, God, I hope they win. But if they don't, they still deserve to be in. Peter, check us out on Amped Up Sports. Got a whole bunch of things. My screaming from the cheap seats today, I'm getting ready to put up. You know who I'm screaming at? I'm screaming at Coach Amir, but I'm screaming at him for a good way. What a class act.
Yeah, what a class act to give you a piece of the net. You deserve it, my friend. That's why you're a legend. That's why you're on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Now on Wednesday, of course, on Wednesday nights, maybe sometimes on Monday, you got a double dip there, a double dose of Leo Haggerty. What's better than that? I don't know. Thanks a lot for your time, my friend, and we'll see you soon. There you go. So you like that? The return of Denis Phillips. We talked about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We talked about the Tampa Bay Rays. We talked about USF basketball. Didn't talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning, but that's always open. But I know what you Bucs fans want to talk about. I know what you want to talk about. You want to talk about the report today from Pewter Report saying in so many words, the Bucs are not close to getting a deal done. $20 million from this report. Are you concerned? So the question for the night, for the web heads out there, for fans of the sports web, for the Tampa Bay sports fan, how much would you pay Baker Mayfield? You're Jason Light. Don't give me the cop-out that's their job. No, not tonight on the sports web. It's your job. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Stand by. Let's go out to the phone lines. Here we go. Producing on air. Let's go out to Mr. Alex. Alex, leading it off here on the sports web. Stand by. Let me put you on hold really quick. Curtis will come out to you after we're done with Alex. Stand by. Alex, go ahead.
Peter, what's up, man?
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Can I talk about the Rays or the Bucs? Which one can I talk about tonight?
You can talk about anything your little heart desires, my friend.
All right, you're the man. I want to complete the conversation about the Rays, and then I want to go about the Bucs situation, about that report you talked about. So going into everything talked about the Rays, I'm really confident about what we're looking at after the spring training. You got a couple big guys stepping up, as Leo and Dennis were saying.
Yeah.
A couple guys look really good. I like what the Rays have done this offseason. We got some new bats. Mm-hmm. Our pitching is always going to be there, right? So if you're a Rays fan, you know that our pitching has always been top tier, even when someone goes down. Like this year, it's going to be Shane McClanahan. We're not going to have him this year. I know he was talking about a lot of by the way, proven fact, he is absolutely right. This team is probably the worst luck with Tommy John injuries. It's a proven fact, and I don't think it's because of how we're using our guys. I think it's because the Rays just have the worst training staff in baseball. But, I mean, that's just my personal opinion on it. But a lot of guys are looking really good in spring training. If you look at guys like Yandy Diaz, had a great day at the plate today.
Yep.
He hit that home run. Ahmad Rosario, I know you guys didn't talk about him. He looks really good. A new pickup this year. He's having a hot spring. I mean, his bat is loaded. So you were talking about Camario. I can't ever pronounce his name.
Caminero, yes, Junior Caminero.
He looks really good. He looks really hot this spring. Another guy who I think is going to end up taking the Wander Franco, spot. So if you're a Rays fan, just real quick, I'm going to end up on the Rays. I'm going to go to that Bucs thing you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to a great season. 92 to 94 wins is a good prediction about that.
Okay. 92 to 94 wins. All right.
Let's talk about that report, though, about Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, my personal opinion is the rumor was $20 million off. He's looking at around $44 million if the rumor I read was correct.
Correct.
Sorry, Baker Mayfield fans. That's absurd. I do not believe in paying a guy that much after one good season. This is where I think the Bucs made their mistake. Okay, I'm not going to be too long here tonight. I think if I was the Bucs, I would have signed a 2-year deal.
Okay.
Give him 1 year, see how he did. He was hot this year. I think the Bucs are going to end up screwing themselves by signing a single 1-year deal, because you could have had that second year control and say, let's just say we did 2 years. How much did he make last season?
$4.5 million.
$4.5 million.
Up
so you're going to tell me
with incentives, yes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to tell me under $10 million to jump all the way up to $44 million after one good season?
Yeah.
I think that's absurd.
That's where the market is. So, Alex, you are Jason Light. You are Mike Greenberg. You are the Bucs trained brain trust there. How much would you pay him? What's the figure for you?
I'm sticking. I told you after the season ended, that last game when I met you at the
Riveters, yes.
Yep. And we were talking about that just real quick. I would have stuck around that. I think a 3-year, $90 to $100 million contract.
Okay. $
60 million guaranteed with incentives.
All right. So how much a year would you pay him? 25, 30?
I'm paying him 20, 25.
Okay.
I'm paying him tops $30 million a year.
$30 million.
Nothing more than that.
Okay.
I am not giving him $44 million a year after one proven or one good season. Got to remember, this guy was a guy that was hopping all over the league. Struggled with the Browns. Went to the Rams. Didn't play along with the Rams. A guy that just Yes, he proved himself. He had a great season. Everything worked out. But I just don't believe in paying a quarterback 44 or 40 million, even 40 million plus $1 million after one good proven season.
It's a lot of money, and it's a great point. It's one proven year. You're exactly right. I think that's the market where it's at, but you got to come to a compromise, because I continue to go back to this. Patrick Mahomes gets a big-time contract. What does he lose? His top receiver. Aaron Rodgers gets a top contract from the Packers, loses his top receiver. Dak Prescott gets a top contract. What does he do? Loses his top receiver. Baker's got a good thing right now. They brought back Mike Evans at $27 million a year, which, by the way, 29 up front. So, but that cap hit is not going to be as much as a lot of people thought. So you're in the driver's seat. I understand that you want to get paid. I think it comes down to $30 to $35 million. And then after that, then you maybe have to consider some other options. And I hate to say that, because we've seen this before, Alex, where if you play quarterback musical chairs, it doesn't always work out for you. You can't always plug and play a quarterback to come in. They got to learn a new system. They got to get chemistry with the wide receivers. To me, it's not just learning the new system, but the chemistry with the wide receivers. And you saw that come on. You saw Baker Mayfield. So I don't buy it. I think Baker Mayfield re-signs with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Thanks a lot for the call, my friend. Use that second call later on. Appreciate you as always. Ray, I see you in the back. Let me read these comments, and then we'll get out to you. Thanks a lot, Twitter. Blowing up right now. I think I got like 80 people watching, and I also got Roger Shue calling in. So we'll get to the comments. I'll tell you what, we'll go out to Tampa Bay. Ray Kennedy really quick. How you doing? We're going to go out to the phone lines right now. Let's go out to the Tribal Troll.
Acknowledge me.
Mr. Roger Shue on with yours truly, along with Best of the Bay, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy right there. What do you have to say, my friend?
Tampa Bay Ray, what's going on, man?
Hey, Roger.
All right, what's up, Roger?
All right. So, Peter, I've been telling you for weeks, if not months, with Baker, it's all about the money.
Okay.
You denied it the entire time. Now I think you have concrete proof. They're $20 million apart.
Off of a report?
It's about the money.
Off of a report. I'm not necessarily know that that's a concrete report. I still think they get it signed. And I best remember you betting my Rolex, being so confident. But here's the thing. If I'm going to bet my Rolex, which is right there, which, by the way, if you can see, I'm probably going to the hospital tonight because I broke my finger pounding on a desk for some reason. I don't know. Maybe because I was frustrated over something.
Over Baker.
Well, no, it's not over Baker. Trust me. That's not what it's over. But if I bet my Rolex on Baker Mayfield re-signing, are you going to bet me $20,000 if he does re-sign with the Bucs? That's what I want to know.
Well, after you get it appraised and find out what it's really worth and if it's real.
It's $20,000. It's real. Trust me, I've got it appraised. Way to be a chicken and back off of what I just said. I get what you're saying.
No, Roger, not only is it real, I've actually rented it from Peter, and I get that's swag for me to wear. So yeah, Pete,
you wouldn't let me.
I don't know, Pete. You got to let Roger have. You got to let him go ahead and rent the Rolly, brother.
All right. I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll work on that to a certain degree. But I just want to know, if you're going to bet me, are you going to bet $20,000?
Let's get back to the fact of the matter. Let's get back to Faker Mayfield.
Faker Mayfield, right. 34 touchdowns. 34 touchdowns and 12 So he's gone.
It was one. Even Leo and Dennis both said this. It was one good season.
Okay.
That's all he's ever had. Okay. Is that worth $35 million? No.
I think it is. I do think it is worth $30 to $35 million. I definitely think it is. You keep the stability at your quarterback. Yeah, go ahead, Ray.
How I get there, though, Pete, is I understand the value of the Daniel Jones, the Patrick Mahomes, the Brock Purdy, who's playing for $17 and a bucket of chicken every week during the season. But I understand that. But I think that what you've seen with Baker and the team that Jason Light surrounds him with, as you bring in a Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, and Baker comes here and rejuvenates the career, it has to be an incentive-laden contract. Respectful like Mike's was to show what his value can be. And you know what? Here's what you tell him. You say, look, if you lead this team to the Super Bowl, You get $50 million because at the end of the day, I think we all agreed we'd pay $50 million if the team were to win Super Bowl 59. The thing is, it has to be incentive laden. I'm not talking some guaranteed $250 million Deshaun Watson contract. That's not happening here. Baker has to realize that. So if there's truth in a report about them too being, I think they said it high, the Bucs said it low. They meet in the middle. I think 30 to 35. But again, I want to see incentives get me there, not just that bottom line guaranteed money.
And I'll say this, Roger, because you doubt Baker Mayfield by calling him a faker. One of the greatest wide receivers of all time, the greatest wide receiver in Tampa Bay Buccaneer history, with his agent came out and said he wanted to play with an elite quarterback and also have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. And by the way, he resigned with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's how much highly he feels about Baker Mayfield and the Bucs chances.
No. The but is he said an elite quarterback, which he does not have at this time.
Oh, really? Well, he's playing.
Baker Mayfield is not an elite quarterback.
Obviously, he re-signed with the Bucs because he thought Baker was an elite quarterback, right?
No, not right.
Oh, okay.
Let me ask you guys this. I'm gonna stick Roger, I'm going to stick my foot in my mouth because I always do. Do you not think that did the parents back in Manville, did they need to know last summer that their son, little Kyle, was doing okay? Did they need to reaffirm Philip Franks and, Derek Young played behind him at Manville, or the Eagle Scout and Kyle Trask? No, he was neck and neck with Baker going into last season. Now, I'm not saying that's how I need to see this play out. What I'm saying is that in the bank of clout, we already know, especially with Liam Cohen, another new offensive coordinator, and the way that this team is built, the zenith of this team, respect is given, but at the end of the day, it's the business. And I think that Baker wants to stay here. Wait, how did I even go here? I'm sorry. Why am I talking about this? I'm just saying I think I forgot what I was saying.
All right. Roger, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you. As always, way to stir it up. Let's go out to these comments here. I've been neglecting you guys. Game on YouTube. Of course, subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Please, YouTube Super Chats are open if you'd like to give to the content. Peter, where are you? I'm right here.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go out to KR. Evening, guys. And this Baker and his agent speak is very interesting. But if the price himself out, who would be the best option available? I hope he does sign back with us. Let me go out to you. I think it's Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson. I think those are the guys that you would look at. Wilson, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. But my thing is, in the last couple of years, you've seen a totally different Wilson at quarterback. He's also more Madonna, had his private office. I don't necessarily think, that works out. And maybe Kirk Cousins, but he's coming off an injury. I don't know. Well, what do you think's the best choice if Baker and the Bucs can't come to an agreement? And by the way, if you're the general manager of your Jason Light, how much are you paying Baker Mayfield a year?
Okay, first question about Russell Wilson. Back when I was writing and covering the Bucs on the daily, I would wake up and I tried to immerse myself in what it would meant to have Tom Brady come here as quarterback in 2020, that first season. Of course, they win the Super Bowl. And then Tom exits, and then Baker Mayfield comes in here. And now I'm like, we're literally in the middle of one of the most historic little runs for definitely the Buccaneers of Tampa Bay. Russell Wilson's not the same Russell Wilson, but you give him a team like he had in Seattle with a strong defense and a running game. And if he wants to come here for the veteran minimum, but if Baker wants to be here, I don't want it to be, it doesn't want to get ugly in the press. We want Baker here if he wants to be here. They got to figure out a way to meet in the middle, right? But at the end of the day.
Yep. I'll tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines here. Curtis, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy.
This is exactly why I said that we need to draft a quarterback.
Okay.
Because why are we going through this?
Well,
why are we going through this?
I mean, this is what you go through when you got a free agent quarterback. And I think, a lot of people look at it and say, well, I wish we weren't going through this right now. Well, what would you wish for? You would want a quarterback that you don't really know what to expect. You want a rookie quarterback, or do you want a guy that could be in high demand? Do you want a quarterback that performed very well? 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions during the regular season, 34-12. Counting the postseason. I mean, I understand where you're coming from because you're worried, just like a lot of Bucs fans, that you may have a new quarterback if it can't work out, if these two sides can't come to a mutual agreement, which I think they will eventually. But go ahead.
And my other thing is this. I don't want to end up like the Giants and overpay a quarterback, and then you're ready to get rid of him after one season.
Right.
But the problem in New York was the fact that they franchised Deshaun Watson and gave Daniel Jones the contract. And I turned to my buddy Kevin at work. He's a big Giants fan, and his father is a huge Giants fan, but his mother is a huge Bucs fan. And I went, that's causing a mistake because number one, you didn't make Barkley happy, but the other 51 in the room went, we see what they think. They paid the money for an unproven Daniel Jones, and they disrespected Saquon Barkley. You're not going to get that in Tampa Bay. You don't have that situation here because of the culture, and that's what it is, right, guys?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, the culture, and I think that's why he'll re-sign for less money that's being reported because of the culture. Yes.
I also feel like Baker is not appreciating what he has.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Like, I mean, I remember him coming out of college, and everybody was like, how big Baker's ego is. He's showing us his ego again.
Well,
that's what makes him though.
Again, this is just off a report. We don't know if they're really $20 million apart. Peter Report does a hell of a job, and they may have something. But again, I will say this: somebody in the know, very close to the situation, says, "Don't believe everything you read and hear." That's all I got to say. They will get this
all
deal
I'm
done.
saying is $35 million is the maximum.
Okay.
Period.
Okay.
And you know what? Give him a 2-year deal.
I'll tell you what I don't agree with, Curtis, and maybe you'll agree with this, is I don't agree with the whole, well, he played for $4 million, it went to $8 million last year on a prove-it deal, and he deserves to get payback for some of that for respect. No, we gave you your chance. We still surrounded you with 52 other dogs, and we gave you a chance to run. And there's a lot of free agent quarterbacks. At the end of the day, Baker definitely doesn't have the upper hand in this situation. And, Peter, I agree with you that we wait to see how it plays out because I think this is posturing.
Yeah,
well, you know what? I'm just saying, $35 million is the maximum amount of money he's going to get. My point is, I told Peter this other day. Peter kind of almost threw up all over himself. But I told him, I said, if I'm going to deal with that, I might as well deal with Russell Wilson.
Right. And I don't know about Russell Wilson. I don't know. What I've seen the last couple of years, he's got
Russell.
Right.
But he really didn't have a bad season last year.
Right. 26-8.
That team was terrible.
Right. Do you guys? I want to know what he did to Sean Payton. Did he sleep with Sean's wife or something? Why did he get so? I've never seen Sean Payton quit on anyone as fast as he quit on Russ Wilson.
Oh.
Well, I think it's the attitude. That's what I think it comes down to, the attitude of the player with him coming in and having a private office and this and that and the other thing.
Well,
I mean, I think that's what it comes down to.
Let's say this.
Yes.
Let's say that. And, we all been watching football for years.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson he wasn't the guy everybody thought he was in Seattle.
Correct.
That's why he left. And then when they traded the King's ransom for him in Denver, they pretty much made him feel like he was on top of the world. And then Sean Payton comes in and he's like, yo, bro, I ain't gonna kiss your ass.
Curtis, but he was a guy. He was a dog in Seattle. He really was. But he had a great offensive line and a running game, right? And a defense.
No. I'm not saying that he was.
Right.
But when you thought, when you thought about Seattle, and I'm not comparing it to him completely, but it was kind of like the Belichick Brady thing. Mm-hmm. Like it was Carroll and Wilson. Right. You don't have one without the other. Right. And like I said, it's not on the same level, but it was like Seattle was always a good team, but after that defense broke down, they were never a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
Well, it was a Legion of Boom, and it was Dan Quinn, and it was that secondary. But then again, it was the linebackers. But it was the offense. They were a ball control offense. They had some dogs. Hutchinson on the offensive line, and then who's the free agent we brought in there from the Buccaneers? Brought in from the Seattle Seahawks so long ago. Why is mine escaping me right now? He was Hutchinson, right? Was it the guard? No.
Oh, no, it's Ryan Neal, and he was totally horrible.
He was horrible when he got here.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I was just fishing.
Curtis, anything else?
I mean, I don't know. Like you said, the whole Baker thing's got to play out. Mm-hmm. It's got to play out. but also at the same time, the draft has to play out. I mean, what if you get to the draft and you're sitting there and you got 2 top-rated quarterbacks sitting there in your lap? What are you going to do?
Do we agree though? This contract, it gets done before the draft, regardless. Yeah. I mean, there's no way it.
I mean,
because of that very reason, Curtis, right?
Huh?
Because of that very reason. Well, I mean, if the Bucs go out and get Penix, now we're looking to bring in Gardner Minshew to back up Penix for a year, and Kyle Trask could be your third, can still be the clipboard holder. I mean, but right? Wouldn't that be a weird play out, Peter?
Yeah, that would be completely weird. And I tell you right now, you're going to get this deal done by Monday. That's when free agency starts, and that's when the legal tampering can happen, and that's where the Atlanta Falcons. I still think Kirk Cousins is the guy that's going there. I don't buy into the Justin Fields nonsense, and I don't think they're going to be in on that Baker thing. But Minnesota, they lose Cousins. They're in on it. You have the New England Patriots, but you look at those teams overall, I mean, the Bucs situation is a lot better. I get it. They may be able to pay him $10 or $15 million more, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to have a successful career now because he goes to those teams. In fact, New England is a god-awful franchise right now without Tom Brady. And they're going to be picking in the top. What are they picking? Number 3. So you want to a team like New England at number 3 with their roster? Okay, go for it.
I don't get the Kirk Cousins. Oh, sorry.
I will tell you what else is crazy to me. I'm gonna let you guys go because I'm definitely coming back for turnbuckle talk.
Yeah,
but it's crazy to me that we're going to see a lot of bigger free agents get released from teams in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
When I saw Tre'Davious White got cut today, I was shocked.
Yeah,
I was really shocked.
Sure.
And I know he's had back-to-back injuries, but that guy was a staple on that Buffalo defense for a long time.
Right.
And when these contracts are so big, and you got people like Josh Allen making $45 million a year.
Yep.
People got to go.
That's it. People get caught, and that's what happens.
I thought they would get rid of Von Miller's contract.
Well, that may be coming next. I was expecting that also, but you get rid of White there, so maybe that's somebody that another team picks up, or maybe the Bucs, because that's been rumored that Carlton Davis is on the trade block. Maybe they go with somebody like that because Jason Light has a propensity. Leo Word going with LSU players, and he is coming off an injury, so he may become at a cheaper option, but I don't think they're going to move on from a Carlton Davis. I don't see it. Curtis, thanks a lot.
Wait, let me ask Curtis. Is Devin White going to be a Saint in 2024, Curtis?
A Saint?
Yeah. He's an LSU boy. He's a Louisiana boy.
Let me ask you a question.
Philadelphia
one more question. I can say yes, because he would love to go home to New Orleans. How do you feel about Jamal Adams getting back with Todd Bowles?
Wow. That would it hasn't necessarily worked out for Seattle. It would definitely work out.
About that?
I would feel great about it, depending on the money. I mean, you also have Jordan Whitehead out there, Mike Edwards at the safety position.
Peter, if you've got Russell Wilson at the veteran minimum, you can afford to bring in Adams. I mean, there's a lot of leeway. Curtis, great call, man. Curtis is my guy.
Listen, I told Peter that yesterday. I said, could you imagine if we could get Russell Wilson for like $2 million?
We'll see. We'll see how it works out, but I still say Baker resigns, and we'll get you that breaking news when it happens here on the Evolution. All right?
All right, guys.
All right. Call back. All right. Good stuff there, Curtis, right there. Woo! Yeah, you look at that right there. That looks pretty ugly, right?
There it is.
That finger, it's not that. See, I can't.
Hold up. If I'm looking at the rollie, I'm sorry. Oh, Peter, what the hell did you punch?
I guess it wasn't the wall. I guess it was the desk there. Let me ask you, Mr. Historian, what did you think about Mike Evans re-signing with the Bucs? How elated were you? Were you surprised by the figure, the amount of years? Give me your initial thoughts on Mike Evans, because all we heard the last couple of weeks, the last month here, was how he was going to Kansas City and some other teams, and he ends up right back where he should with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Brother, the first thought I had, and I hate that, but it's because it's been the Baker, Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield narrative, and my very first thing is when they said, well, he signed because he knows Baker's coming back, and I'm like, Don't forget, Mike Evans came in here with Mike Glennon and then Jameis Winston and through Ryan Fitzpatrick, and over the years, he's had 10 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. He's done it with a whole cast of characters. But it wasn't that I wasn't saying again anything about the Baker deal getting done or not getting done. But my thought was, the narrative wasn't that Mike got signed here just because we're using him as bait to keep bringing Baker Mayfield. We're using him to bring in any quarterback, because what quarterback, Peter, wouldn't want to be throwing to a Hall of Famer like Mike Evans?
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that, and that's the reason why I think he's going to re-sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And again, why do you hire Liam Cohen? Why do you consult him for that? Why do you re-sign a Mike Evans if you're going to rebuild? Nah, I don't buy all this nonsense. So we'll go out to the comments here. Again, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The question for the night, you are Jason Light. You are the Bucs Brain Trust. How much would you sign Baker Mayfield a year? Is it 25? Is it 30? Is it 35? Is it more than $40 million? You have the opportunity to be a GM tonight. Zapoli mix here, laugh out loud. Thanks a lot for tuning in there. Joseph Rogers says, told you, Pete, it's about the money. You wouldn't listen to me. Again, just off of report. We'll see, wise guy, how that works out. Eugene Thomas, Buck, what you heard. Some Bucs fans enjoy the drama, and it's so annoying. I agree with you on that, but we kind of like speculating here on the sports web. That's what we do. Sitton says, just relax. Baker Mayfield is not going anywhere. What's up? What's going on, my friend?
How about them Bucs, baby?
Thank you very much for tuning in. Christopher Cole on YouTube there. Hey, what's up? Vernon says, my question would be, if Baker and the Bucs are $20 million apart, if he wasn't worth it, why are the Bucs still at the table with Baker's camp? It's a good question. Answer that question, what Vernon says right now, Tampa Bay Ray.
Well, because it's posturing, right? I mean, it's bylaw. It was like when Devin opened his big mouth in camp and said, I need to get paid at the end of this year. Remember, I was the guy that was thinking about the second contract before I even got drafted out of LSU. The thing is that it's a business. At the end of the day, that is that business. And I mean, they came in heavy and strong. And when I say an incentive-laden contract for Baker Mayfield, I'm not saying it has to stop at 30 or 33. I'm just saying that as you build those escalations into it, not all of them have to be so easily attainable, but you can give this cat some real incentives to shoot for and tell him we're going to continue to afford to surround you with the dogs you need to run with the big ones.
Are you looking at how many people are watching this show right now?
I know, it's crazy, right? I have my glasses on. What's it up to?
119. Well, I need to turn your volume down just a little bit.
I got it. Yeah.
That's okay. And then you've got right now 94 people watching on my Twitter. You've got 16 people watching on Facebook. There you got Bucs Life in that. I Love St. Pete and a total of 119 people. That's pretty true.
Well, brother, I got a few more minutes because, like I said, I had to go by the clinic today. It turns out that little rash was more than just a little rash. And my prescription is going to be done here in a couple of minutes. But you got me for a few more. Go ahead. Let's do some comments.
Why are you there at CBS?
To pick up the, the penicillin. Oh, come on. Don't go full screen. No, actually, I went to Publix tonight. My daughter, I don't want to talk. I turned my volume down. I hope it's okay. But she wanted these. They're called Drizzlies. They're covered rice cakes, and she loves them. And she's been looking for them all over. Publix has been out. And we had a coupon. We had an expiring rain check for a BOGO on them from last month. And I'm the hero. I found them. But I remembered I wanted to come in and talk a little bit with you, brother, and have a little fun. And so CVS was a catty corner from the Publix. So shout out to Starkey Road and Brian Derry right here in the beautiful city of Seminole.
Love it. Let's go out to Alex using his second call. Alex, welcome to the Evolution. What do you have to say? What's on your mind? Okay, I guess he's not there. All right, let's go out to Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, welcome to the Sports Web. You're on with yours truly, along with Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. Stand by. Hold on here, Mr. Williams. Go ahead, Mr. Williams. Go.
All right. This is hey, man.
You're the general manager. How much are you paying Baker Mayfield a year?
All right, Baker. We got Mike back. We got number 13.
Right.
Okay?
You got Antoine Winfield Jr. back. Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I done tagged Antoine.
Yep.
I done gave Mike his 2 years.
Right.
If he get a certain amount of catches, whatever, he's gonna have like 40-something years. Okay. Easy work for a young man that's in his 30s. All right, Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
And are we gonna give him a good 30 for the next 3, man? And he's back on board. Baker ain't going nowhere, man. We're gonna give him 30 to 35.
Is that how much you would give him, Mr. Williams? 30 to 35 million. Okay.
Yeah, man. I give him 30 to 35 because it was a couple of doubters when Baker chose to come out here. It was a couple of doubters, man.
Yeah.
All of the haters was doubting Tampa. You know, the New Orleans Saints, man. So the Saints gonna win the South now. Tom gonna get the dude.
Right.
I wasn't a Tom Brady fan when he was here. You know, he came, we got a Super Bowl, okay, cool. But he's gone, he's old news now.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, you know, Baker came in, had to know these guys, and even me, I was not expecting my Tampa Bay Buccaneers to get to the round 2 in the playoffs.
Well, they did, right?
Yeah.
So you're paying Baker 30 to 35 million. So you say, don't worry about it. You're okay with giving him how many years of a contract? 2, 3 years?
Well, I give him 3 and
years,
then I still go draft me another quarterback that can sit down.
Okay.
And Kyle Trask.
Sorry about your luck. It's his birthday today, by the way.
Yeah, man. We'll have to see what's going on with that, man.
Come on, Mr. Williams, talk it straight now. But he's right. He does. He talks the truth. He talks the truth.
Man, it's like, you know, hey, Kyle, you all right, but we ain't ready to put you in 17 games yet, man.
Yeah, go ahead, Ray.
Is Kyle Trask starting in 2024 or 25? I'm sorry, for another, because obviously being on he's on his second round, it's 4th year of his contract, and the Bucs have him at a price that's very good actually for a backup quarterback, an unproven one. But yeah, at the same time, do we all agree here that we've at least? He's always proven he was ready to go back up since Manville High, then Florida behind Philby Franks. He stays a year just to be a dog, and he ends up coming within a snare's hair of the Heisman Trophy, leading him to 11-2 and at Orange Bowl victory. He's always been a guy that was ready. Oh, and then, guys, plus he spent 3 years behind Tom Brady. If you even want to wish on some of that dust rubbed off, do we agree in 2025 Kyle Trask should be considered a starter for at least one of the other 20 teams in the NFL that I can think of that need a quarterback?
Yeah, one for the other 20 teams, yes, sir.
Sorry.
But just not for my true to red and gray right now.
I got you. Hold on a sec. Tampa Bay Ray, you're in the dark there. I think
I gotta go.
All right, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy out and about there. Yeah, I agree with you, Mr. Williams. Thanks a lot for the call, my friend.
All right, man. A number love, man. Hey, go get that hand checked out, man.
Oh, I will. It doesn't look good, does it? It looks pretty bad.
Man, that don't look good. You tell Harry, man, I'm in hot pursuit of my chicken wing.
Yeah, I know. By the time you get those chicken wings, Mr. Williams, I don't know, man. Harry.
Man, I'm going to be old and gray.
I'm telling you. You're a young guy, and you're going to be old and gray there waiting for your wings. So we'll work on that, Mr. Williams. I promise you.
Yeah, man, because what's going to happen, he don't know. I'm going to call you, and you going to tell me where y'all showing up at.
All right.
And I'm going to show up on one of his broadcasts.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
I can't get my prescription now, so at least give me my prediction for the contract. 3 years, $150 million contract. It's going to kind of be loaded like Mike Evans' contract was. There's going to be respectful numbers there. He's going to have incentives that can get him some places. It's going to be a crazy number to get to. It's going to have an out after 2. I think Baker Mayfield's definitely the Buccaneers quarterback in 2024.
All right, so there you go, Mr. Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. Get home safe. We'll see you later.
Because we have a offensive guy that he's used to.
Right. Right.
And
exactly.
that they done played together. So right, we already know that's also letting me know Baker coming back in 2024, man.
Exactly. All right.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, man. Number love, man. Hey, Peter, get off here, man, and go get that hand checked out, man. Hey, man. Tell all of us we love you, but you gotta go get that hand checked, bro.
We'll do. We'll spend another 40 minutes here on, and I'll probably go to the hospital overnight and get it checked out. Yes.
Antoine Winfield, I believe you got a 5-year deal with a franchise tag.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, good job, Jason, because I ain't seen now another guy that fly over that field like Antoine.
You're exactly right about that, Mr. Williams.
Because, hey, man, a number love, man. Once again, go Bucs. Baker, come on, man, and pick up that 8 pin and let's get back to work.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mr. Williams. See you later. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. You are Jason Light for the night. You are the Bucs Brain Trust. What would you sign Baker Mayfield to his contract length, how much he makes a year? Let's go out to Mr. Ben Cornett. Ben from Las Vegas, welcome to the Evolution. The question is, Baker Mayfield, how many years, how much money?
Well, first of all, Peter, thanks for having me on.
Yes,
appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And wow, this is, it's weird, but I love this time of year, the negotiations,
right?
The back and forth.
Right.
I want to be in that. Yeah, I want to be a little bug in the room, like just seeing what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer the question, Peter, we're getting them back. I think what's going to happen, I can see about 35 to 40 a year.
Okay.
There's going to be some incentives. I don't think it's going to be like 4 years. I'm going to go about 2 to 3 years.
Ben, will you hold on for a moment? I got some. Yeah, hold on. Stand by. Jim, damn it, Jim. Thanks a lot for calling. Stand by. We got Ben on. Once we finish up, Ben will come out to you. Stand by. All right. Go ahead, Ben.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just going to say, I think it'd be around a 3-year deal.
Okay.
Let's go 100 million, maybe something like that. I think they're going to, maybe it's a little too high, more than maybe what Light and Greenberg and Spytek want.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think they're going to find that common ground and we're going to have them back. I mean, like you said, they don't hire a OC, that Baker's familiar with for any reason.
Right.
They're trying to keep that continuity. So, but it was good that they got, Evans paid first. They got Winfield. You got to take care of your own. And then now it's Baker's turn. The ball's in his court. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. How much did it mean to you as a Bucs fan to get Mike Evans back? And were you surprised because the reports came out during the weekend? He wanted to play with an elite quarterback. He wanted a team, and this is from his agent, a team that had a chance to win the Super Bowl. And all Bucs Nation lost their minds there on social media. Oh, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. No, not so fast, as the great Lee Corso would say. Not so fast, my friend. It was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, how surprised were you by that contract, and how much did it mean to you being a Bucs fan for as long as you've been?
Well, I'm not really surprised that he was coming back. I mean, this was always going to be his first option. It was just, like you said, it's called negotiations for a reason, and they just want to talk, get to a number and, be respectful in mind of that. I know Light, they keep a number in mind, but at the end of the day, he is a Buccaneer, and they drafted this. And real important, Peter, this was Light's very first draft pick. I think that holds a lot of weight for both Light and Mike Evans, because you don't want to lose your very first draft pick to free agents. You want him to retire as a Buccaneer. That may not mean as much to as fans. It means a lot, but to Jason Light, that personally, I think that's got to mean something as far as the GM. This is my first draft pick. I want to make sure this guy stays here. I want to make sure this guy retires here and gets his name on that Ring of Honor and eventually get into the Hall of Fame. So I think the only real surprise for me was just 2 years. Maybe they're thinking, okay, well, we can do 2 now. And then once we get to after that, then we can go from there, whether he retires or wants to play another couple of years. But other than that, no, I can't say I'm surprised at all.
All right, good stuff. Anything else on your mind tonight, Mr. Ben Cornett?
No, I just think this is my favorite time of year, the negotiations. I think they'll get a deal done probably right before Monday. So that way they don't want to, Baker and his agent to go, okay, let's test the waters. So I honestly my gut feeling is I expect the deal to get done. And one last thing, Peter, hopefully that rash that our good friend Ray has, it's not serious. I mean,
this guy sucks.
And we'll keep it at that. We'll keep it at that.
Thanks a lot, Ben. I knew you were going to go with that.
Oh, yeah.
Use that second call. Very good, my friend. All right. Appreciate you. Yes, sir. Turnbuckle talk coming up here in just a little bit. Let's go out to this guy.
Damn it, Jim. What the hell's the matter with you?
Jim, welcome to the Evolution. What do you have to say? Baker Mayfield, how many years and how much a year are you signing him to?
We do how many years? Let's do 2 years.
2 years, okay.
Because he like to get injuries.
Okay.
But it seemed like he didn't bounce back a little bit. So 2 years, what we say, 35 million.
So $35 million a year, 2-year contract. You're comfortable with that? With that being said, with the 2-year contract, are you still drafting somebody like a Michael Penix Jr. or J.J. McCarthy, which is rumors that the Bucs have been talking to him in the combine. They've been talking to plenty of guys. Are you in favor of also drafting a quarterback because of the length of that contract, Jim?
Yeah, I'll draft another quarterback too.
Okay. So no Kyle Trask for you. By the way, happy birthday, Kyle Trask.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Trasher, but I ain't my business. But no.
You said trash. All right, Jim. What else?
Nothing much, man. I was just listening in. Kind of busy tonight.
Well,
do a little passion.
Listen, I'm glad you always call, even when you're working. That means a lot. Use that second call because Turnbuckle Talk is coming up here in a couple minutes, my friend. All right?
Oh, yeah. All right.
All right. Appreciate you. Good stuff. Over phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Run. It's a tornado. By the way, Vernon, great comment there.
Oh, yeah.
You're exactly right. Eric says, hey, everyone. Eric, again, take Baker, costs money. Kyle Trask, give him a chance. I mean, again, I'm not ready to go there. I think the organization has basically told you what they think of Mr. Trask at this juncture. They have not given him a chance, but they have given him a chance to compete, and he hasn't been able to beat the backup quarterbacks out. So that's the reason why he hasn't started. I do understand where you're coming from, Eric. Christopher Cole, they're trying to justify not putting them in. Eric, again, FSU, same situation. I think he's talking about USF there. Mike Evans, only good player we got. Dalton, I don't know what you're talking about. They got plenty of good players on this team, namely the best safety in the league, and an Antoine Winfield Jr., a Chris Godwin. Plenty of great players on this team besides Mike Evans, but he's definitely one of those. Evans called his agent and told him to get it right. Get it right, get it tight. Well, what's that? I don't think he said that, but he wanted to be a Buck for life. Yes. Music to a lot of Bucs fans' ears. Jameis return. Jameis door number 2. Don't know about that. What would you think about that, Bucs fans? Jameis Winston to return if you're not able to re-sign a Baker Mayfield. Don't know about that. Yeah. Alex says, you don't pay a guy $44 million after just one season. I mean, damn, Brady didn't even get $30 million. You're exactly right. Absolutely. Let's go out to Roger Shue, Chicago for Saquon. Good stuff. That's the rumor right now. Saquon could be headed to the Chicago Bears. What a hell of a move that would be. When he could stay healthy, he's one of the most dominant running backs in the league. The problem is he can't stay healthy consistently, but not my money. There's a lot of running back free agents out there, namely a guy that hasn't been talked about. I can't believe we're not talking about him. How about King Henry? How about Derrick Henry in a Baltimore Raven uniform? He's a free agent. So we'll see how that works out. You know I'm right. At Roger Shue, you said Mike Evans was going to be a Bear and Chicago was going to kill the Bucs, and you were wrong about that. Stop acting like you were right all the time because exactly he's never right. I love that. Love that. You know I'm right. David says, what are your thoughts on Barkley signing a one-year deal with the Jets to play with Aaron Rodgers? That's certainly a possibility. Of course, a lot of people assumed that Rodgers was going to retire after that horrific injury 4 plays into the season. Can they get that offensive line right? I mean, you're going to bring back Aaron Rodgers to that. You better get the offensive line right. Speaking of get it right, keep it tight, that offensive line needs to get better before any quarterback goes back there. I don't care if it's Joe Namath. You got no chance at all with that offensive line. So what do I think about Saquon Barkley signing with the Jets? I mean, they tried Dalvin Cook. Why not, right? But can that offensive line be consistent enough to pass protect and also open up those holes for Barkley? You already have Breece Hall there. So you get Saquon in New York with Breece Hall. It's a good problem to have. Once again, it comes back to the offensive line. Game on, Peter. Where's the Greek? He was too hard on him, man. Tell him we forgive him. Greek is taken off tonight. Greek is fine. We'll get him back here on the Evolution. He's always a part of the Sports Web. Everything is good. Scott Marchant, Missouri running back Schrader, the Shredder. I have to check that out. Say that 3 times. Thank you very much for that, Scott. Sandra Nagel, agent of the show, my beautiful mom, watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area, the Sports Web, Amped Up Sports, my great guy, Dennis Phillips, best sports guy, but Miss Harry Berg is normal, but great listening to you. Thank you very much, Mom. Appreciate it. Your check is in the mail.
Oh, yeah.
Game-O, watch the comments. I don't think he was saying anything. Where's the Greek? Already answered that question. Stu is a grifter. Good stuff, Eugene. Appreciate it. Stu is I agree with that one. That's actually a comment that I would agree with, and I would say it's one of the comments of the night. Dave says, I can't believe a big market team hasn't come in and raided the Rays scouting team because they keep finding great players and just letting them leave. Agree. I mean, that's the great thing about the Rays. Say whatever you want to, and we have on this show. We love the Rays. We covered the Rays. But I've been very critical. I feel like if they would spend, 30 or 40 more $1 million, we may have some World Series championships. I said we, because I'm a Rays fan. You can see Tropicana in the background there, given to me by who? Rich from Clearwater. Yep, he gave that to me. So we talk about him on this show, but they seem to find young players. They also seem to find pitchers off the scrap heap and get the most out of them, which has been tremendous. And they do it at a small value. I kind of get offended when an owner comes out and once again says, and I know I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, what were the words that he said about 90 million? I'm scared or something along the lines of that. $90 million, you're upset about that, but you're willing to ask the great people, the blue-collar people in the Tampa Bay area for $2.4 billion for your new stadium. That's not how it works. You can see how mad I get there. I go from 1 to 10,000 just like that. I mean, just be fair about it. If you want me to invest in your product, invest in your own. I never understood that. The Bucs can raise ticket prices to the end of time. You know why? Because I know they're going to invest in their players. I know I have faith in light, follow the light, with the brain trust over there, that they're going to do everything to invest in their team. I have faith in Jeff Vinnick and the Tampa Bay Lightning that they're going to invest in their team. Let's go out to Curtis. Curtis, welcome back to the Evolution. You want to talk about turnbuckle talk? Is that what you're getting at this point?
We can talk about anything you want to talk about.
Oh, listen to you now.
Listen, I'm off work. I'm relaxing.
Okay.
I got my joint ready.
Okay.
And
smoke them if you got them. Yes.
I will say, I think this is going to be one of the most interesting free agencies we've had in the last couple of years.
And why do you say that? Why do you think this is more interesting than years past?
Well, number one, we have a lot of young talent in the NFL now.
Yeah.
A lot of young talent.
Very true.
And there is a lot of big name free agents that's going to get released from some of these teams because, I mean, we still have up until Monday, Tuesday, where people are getting released from teams. And
correct.
I mean, like I said earlier, I don't think anybody saw that Tre'Davious White thing coming.
Nope.
That shocked the hell out of me. And when I seen it on TV today, I had to take a double take. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? And a lot of these teams don't have the money. And guess what? When you have to get under the cap, you have to do what you have to do.
Correct.
And you have to look at some of these contracts. I mean, me and you have talked about it before. Harry's talked about it before. Leo's talked about it before. When you're paying these quarterbacks $40+ million a year, the team is the one that's going to suffer because you're going to have up and coming new talent. And then these guys are going to come up for contracts and need to be paid. And you can't pay them because you don't have enough money to spread around to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, let's look at this whole Kansas City thing. Somebody is going to offer Chris Jones something ridiculous.
Maybe the Raiders.
They are going to offer him something ridiculous, and he's going to be like, I already have 3 Super Bowl rings.
Well, listen, if you're Chris Jones at that point, and I get it, it's all about the money at the end of the day. But if you're Chris Jones, do you take a little less money knowing that you have an opportunity to win multiple Super Bowls with Patrick Mahomes without a number 1 wide receiver?
Peter, listen, I love you to death, brother. But let me tell you something.
Yeah.
How many guys are superstars in this league that don't even have 1 ring?
Well, it's true.
Okay, this guy he's already got 3.
Right.
And, they have been pretty much beating around the bush with this guy and his money for the last couple of years.
Sure, because they went and they paid a superstar quarterback the obscene amount of money. Yeah.
And they paid Travis Mahomes and they paid Travis Kelce.
Right.
And whoever else.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of reminds me, remember when Albert Haynesworth got all that contract from
from the Washington
from the Washington Redskins?
Yes, I do.
I mean it just
and the Bucs were supposedly in that. They were in that, and then eventually they got him, and that was a disaster. And it was a disaster with him to sign with Washington. You're exactly right.
But the thing about it is these guys, they put their bodies on the line.
Correct.
They need to get paid because, and then another thing that people don't look at it is, yes, these guys are making millions of dollars, but they're also paying millions of dollars in taxes every year.
Mm-hmm. You're exactly right. They are. Yeah.
So and it's just like hey, we understand this guy's had a great career, all pro, 3 Super Bowl. Guess what? 3 Super. It's. Ask Dan Marino how happy he'd be with 1 Super Bowl ring right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. If you got 3 Super Bowls already, you have nothing left to prove. But why not have 4 or 5 Super Bowls, and you got the best opportunity to do that instead of, you're going to get overpaid by the Raiders because, of course, they stink and they're trying to get better with you, but there's no guarantee you win a Super Bowl. So I guess it comes down to this, and I'll throw this question out at you, and I guess there would be some answers that would say, well, I'll take more money. Or would you stay in a place where you're going to get paid maybe not the most money, but still some good money and have an opportunity to be the best in your profession? What would you choose?
Unfortunately, with the world we live in right now,
mm-hmm.
you have to take the money.
Don't choke now. Don't choke on air here. That wouldn't be good. That would be a story. It might actually go viral.
That's the good stuff. But anyway,
I guess it is.
But listen, okay. Remember when Sapp left Tampa, went to the Raiders?
Correct.
Nobody remembers Sapp as a Raider.
Nobody does. Nobody
remembers Sapp as a Raider. He still was a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
He left and he went to Oakland because they gave him the biggest contract.
Yeah.
He still was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He still was a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And he went and took the money because he needed to feed his family. I mean, simple as that. I mean, I don't know. I think Chris Jones, I can tell you one thing. When I saw him on Thursday Night Football last year against Detroit, and that opening season game against Kansas City, and he was sitting in the booth. He was physically upset. You could see he wanted to be on the field, but he wasn't wrong for standing his ground. Because guess what? If he goes out there and he gets hurt, let's say he signs a 5-year deal with Kansas City.
Yeah.
And he gets hurt and he can't recover from the injury, they're going to cut him. He's not going to get that 5-year. He's not going to get all that money for all 5 years.
Of course not. No.
So I mean, you need to take all the money you can while you can. So I mean, it sucks that it's like that, but these teams are going to make money regardless.
It's a great point. It's absolutely great point, and they can cut you at any time. Once your performance slips, they can cut you. You're exactly right. They can.
I mean, it sucks that it's like that, but guess what? That's the business part of the NFL that people don't talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We all love the game for, the passion and the plays and all that stuff. But the business side is the part of the game that a lot of people don't remember. And, free agency and negotiation, that's all great and stuff. Because, you get to see who's coming to your team. You get to see how much money your players making and all that. What?
Yeah. That's a good point. All right, turnbuckle talk, because we're going to talk about this in a little bit, and I've been trying to get to it, but I want to get to all these comments. Cody and Seth Rollins are going to be at SmackDown, and they're going to confront The Rock and Roman Reigns, and I continue to say, because they continue to put out hints there, that The Rock is going to turn on Roman Reigns. He's going to cost him in that tag team match somehow, or I think it's going to be the championship match on night 2. They're going to lose that tag team match. The Bloodline is not going to be involved. The Rock is going to cost him. They're going to wrestle at WrestleMania 41, but they are due to confront each other on Friday Night SmackDown. Your thoughts?
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
I had to take a big drink for this.
I guess, yes. I see
I'm
that.
ready for this.
I know you are.
So, when I was watching SmackDown Friday night, and I saw Roman grab The Rock's hand and told him to acknowledge him, I could see the wheels turning in The Rock's head.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because he wanted to say something that was going to break the internet.
Correct. Yes. Yes, he did. And when he said that, it just didn't seem genuine to me. He pointed to Roman Reigns a couple weeks ago saying, I'm going to make you lose, referring to Cody. I think that was a shot at Roman. And then if you watch, when The Rock points up, he has an L sign. It's not one with acknowledging the tribal chief. It is a L sign. They're doing this on purpose. I hate to tell you, but this is what they do in wrestling. It's called foreshadowing. You got to catch the signs. They're there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
When I saw the expression of just a blank expression on The Rock's face.
Yeah.
When Roman told him to acknowledge, that told me, I'm like, guess what? That right there, the bloodline is dead. It's dead right there. And I mean, it's about time. Don't get me wrong. It's probably been one of the greatest stories we've seen in a really long time.
Yeah.
But it's run its course.
Yeah, of course it's run its course. Absolutely. Its course. Sure.
And what's going to happen is this is what's going to happen. Well, this is my prediction. The Rock is going to cost Roman the title.
Yep.
Roman is going to leave for a couple months. He's going to come back with a vengeance, and he's going to challenge The Rock at WrestleMania next year.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to do a year kind of deal where they promote it up. Yep, absolutely.
Yep. Seth Rollins.
Yeah, that was a terrible promo on Monday night. It's
no, of course it was.
It was terrible. It was not good.
But here's the thing.
It's not good. It was not funny.
As long as we've been watching wrestling, it is hard to cut a promo against The Rock.
But come on, man. You've got the whole weekend to come up with something better than diarrhea Diarrhea, Dwayne. Come on. What are we in fourth grade?
What you got to remember, though.
Come on, man.
See, the thing about it is wrestling nowadays is more PG.
Mm-hmm.
See, the Rock grew up in wrestling where it was damn near rated R.
Attitude Era. We all grew up in the golden age of wrestling. Yes.
When he was calling people meth heads and crack heads on Friday, man, I was on the floor.
I was cracking up. I mean, that's old school. That's old school Rock. That's beautiful. That's right.
Yeah, oh my God. I said, this is what we've been missing with wrestling.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Because I understand that it's it was family entertainment then. I seen a TikTok video the other day where they had DX was doing like a promo for the USA talking about they won't refer to their genitalia till the 9 o'clock hour and stuff like.
Yeah, exactly.
That is great wrestling. That is greatness for promos. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just I don't know. Some of it seems a little watered down. But you know what I'm saying? It's still the thrill of wrestling. Like, you know what I'm saying? You get when you watch it, you know what I'm saying? And me and my boys, we still watch it. You know, my oldest son will be 19 years old in July.
Damn. Happy birthday.
And then my youngest son just turned 17 like a month ago.
Wow.
So I remember sitting down since they were like 4 or 5 years old watching wrestling with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to go to Walmart and buy them the little tag team titles, and we used to sit down and watch the wrestling in front of TV Mondays and Fridays, like no matter what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? And yes, John Cena made wrestling kind of kiddish, but he carried it when it needed to be carried.
Agree.
There was nobody else there.
Agree. Completely agree.
So I don't know this whole thing. I'm WrestleMania. Everybody's making it about the bloodline, but the whole WrestleMania thing in general is going to be a great thing. I can't wait to see Drew McIntyre and Seth again because I feel like Damian Priest is going to cash in.
Somewhere, I think Damian Priest is in this equation. I don't know where he is, but I think Drew McIntyre will win the title from Seth.
Yep.
And then I think it doesn't make any sense for I don't know where Damian Priest is in this at all, but I think they're setting up Drew versus CM Punk. That is the next big match when CM Punk comes off of injury.
Or you know what? Another thing that I said to myself was, because I've been watching it lately, Damian's going to cash in on Gunther.
Well, that's certainly possible. Also, you could do that way too if he didn't want it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Certainly possible.
The whole Bailey thing. You know what? I really didn't care for the whole Bailey match with the other young lady. I forgot her name.
Io Sky.
I'm very interested now. I'm very, very interested. I mean, people are so focused on the bloodline, but the WrestleMania card in general is starting to become a great spectacle.
Yep.
Because it's not just about the bloodline. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like we're going to have some great matches. I can't wait to watch Rhea and Becky.
Agree.
Because you know, when is the last time Rhea lost a match?
Well, and I wonder what they're going to do with Jade Cargill. I wonder what that's going to happen because she had a face off with Io Sky the other night, who had the title, and eventually you're going to have to move her into some type of main event with you know, the hype that they've bestowed upon her, which is much deserved, but also, you know, what she did at the Royal Rumble in St. Pete was tremendous. She definitely got over with the crowd. She's got the look. A lot of people say she's green. That's why she's been at the WWE, Performance Center. But you got to wonder what they're going to do with her eventually. So I think she's definitely in this equation.
The one thing that I will say that I'm disappointed in is I don't know what they're doing with Bobby Lashley. I don't know what they're doing with Randy Orton. Like, I don't know. And I know these guys are older, but it's just like, you know, what are they really doing with these guys?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even AJ Styles, like, you know what I'm saying? Either you're going to just get these up and coming new guys and you're going to get rid of these old guys. Like, what are we going to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yep, that's absolutely correct. All right, Curtis, I got to run, man. I'm going to go ahead and read these comments, talk more about wrestling, but I got to read these comments, not neglect these guys, and then I'm going to get off to the hospital. Hopefully, I'm not too hurt too bad. But
yeah,
I'm telling
man, please put it in a splint or something, man.
Yeah, it's not good, man. I'm trying to move my finger right now. I can barely move my finger, so it's just like, what in the world?
I'll tell you, the other night I was at work and I was dumping a trash from the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess there was a broken bottle in the bottom of the bag.
Right.
And I went to grab the bag because it was falling and didn't know, and the bottle went right into my hand.
Oh.
Yeah, and I had a huge slit across the palm of my hand. So trust me, bro, I understand.
I have no idea how I did it. I mean, I thought I banged on the table. Maybe I banged into Alex. I have no idea, but it just started to throb and hurt. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't able to move my fingers, my fourth finger, not my middle finger, but my fourth finger, because I know people want to see me break my middle finger there and have that, but right. Exactly.
No, I would love to see you have a splint on your middle finger and do the Austin 316.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I wouldn't be able to wear my Rolex if I have that. So hopefully it's not broke. But I can tell you right now, just reports of it. Early reports suggest that it may be, because I can't move the damn thing up and down. Curtis, appreciate the time.
Yes, safe, man.
Thank you, sir.
Safe. Yep.
I appreciate you. Good stuff there. Let me go ahead and give him the Macho Man.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get out to these comments, and then we will talk some turnbuckle talk, but I want to neglect you guys here. All right, sorry, Baker isn't worth risking $40 a year on only 1 year work. Let New England or Atlanta have him. Tim says, somewhat concerned, but trust in the leadership of the Bucs. Very good comment.
Woo!
Agree. Completely.
Yeah!
Absolutely agree with that. Dave says, is it Trask Force time again? No. Bobby says Baker is wild. 44 million, 32 million with times with incentives. Scott, it's his birthday today. Can you try to let go of your fun for one day? What? I wished him a happy birthday. What do you want me to do here, Scott? I know you're a Trask fan. I'm just throwing it out there. That's all. I'm actually a Trask supporter. I wouldn't mind seeing him get a chance. Cam Decker says, Chris, what's up? What's up, Cam? Where is Wander Franco? Not here. Do you miss Paula from the radio station? No. The Bucs will draft Devin Leary from UK if Baker isn't back. Wow. Roger says Justin Fields to the Bucs. I know that's been rumored about if they don't get this deal done with Baker. I pay him a McDonald's Happy Meal, says Cam Decker. Thanks a lot for that. I like to see Tampa trade up and get Bo Nix if they don't re-sign Baker. Chris, thanks a lot for the comment. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
As my finger is throbbing right now. My whole hand is throbbing, so we'll see how long I can stay here. A lot of NFL teams are pissed that the Giants gave Jones that contract. The worst contract ever. Absolutely. One of the worst besides the Deshaun Watson debacle.
This guy sucks.
Why don't we re-sign Brad Johnson? Because he is retired, you goof.
Shut
Roger says, Ray, I love your backdrop. Yeah, CBS, it's always good to promote somebody that's not our sponsor, but good job, Ray. Russell Wilson is a weirdo. Chris Lee, please don't sign Wilson. Chris again. Jones didn't deserve that big contract, and he didn't prove anything. Baker played better and helped the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to the playoffs. You're exactly correct about that. Cam says, I tried calling no call screener. Just go straight to Hillary Clinton's email after that.
This guy sucks.
Cam. It's good to have you back, but there is no Hillary Clinton message on my phone. You're an idiot. Vaughn restructured his contract today. Thanks a lot, Dave. Kirk Cousins to Tampa Bay. Thinking about that. Cam says, Peter H. Blake, we got to talk about Wander Franco. I don't know what else is to talk about besides the fact of, the allegations are out there. We don't know what the decision is by Major League Baseball of the Rays. There has been no resolution to that. We'll leave it at that. So freaking excited that Big Mike is back. Absolutely, Chris. Thanks a lot for tuning in your first time. Come on back. Call in if you guys want to. Bobby says Baker wants $44 million. Move on from him. Guaranteed it doesn't get $44 million in free agency. Put it in the comments. How many years, Bobby, would you sign him to? Would you sign him to a 2 or 3 year deal? 30, 35 million, 40 million, or you can get on the phone lines. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Nothing to talk about. He's done with Major League Baseball. Christopher Cole, Charles Davis Mock has the Bucs drafting JPJ at 26, the safety I believe you're talking about from Oregon. What is this? That's Cam. Doing great. Thank you. What do you think the best Super Bowl run chances next year? I think they're great. Thanks a lot. Okay. Peter Blake's husband in Hawaii. Thank you. I appreciate you tuning in. I don't know who you are. I think that is Cam. I really do.
This guy sucks.
I love the trolls. You got to love them, especially the tribal.
Acknowledge me.
Let's go out to David. I give Baker a $35 million a year, 3 years, incentives to make up a 40 year. I like what you're thinking. Bobby says Bucs should keep Trask as a backup. Most likely will because he's under contract. Javon says, patience, fellow Bucs fans. Baker will re-sign with us. Completely agree.
Oh, yeah.
Scott says, smart man. We won a couple bowls with guys who started out as backups. Good point. Pete, I'm alone over here. When are you coming home? Okay. Thank you very much. YouTube commenter. I don't know who you are, but go to hell. I'll sign your cast. Thank you, Roger. I hope I don't get a cast.
This guy sucks.
Roger is my hubby. He's amazing. I believe that one. Lisa says, let's get oh God. I love YouTube.
This guy sucks.
Lisa says, let's get Mayfield signed and stop dragging your feet. All right, Lisa, how much would you sign him to? A couple years? How much? $1 million a year? $25, $30 million a year? Go ahead and put it in the comment section. Dave says, yes, Trask and Baker battled out last season. Baker also had 4 years of NFL game experience compared to Trask. Trask was battling close to Baker in the words of Bucs OC. No one even the Bucs didn't know what Trask could actually be. He definitely improved last year, but I think once again, the organization has told you how they feel about Kyle Trask. When you start Baker Mayfield, who's less than 100% in the biggest game of the year, and you still start Baker over Trask. Just saying. David says, well, with all this going on about Baker, can we finally in the saga about Kyle being a starting quarterback? Because if they thought Kyle could be a starter, they would say, hey, Baker, we'll give you this amount, and if you don't want it, we don't care. We got Kyle. But even you never hear them saying that they're going to draft another quarterback. Great comment. Let the truth set you free. Exactly right. If you're going to move on from Baker Mayfield, instead of bringing in Baker Mayfield in the first place, bring in somebody else and have Kyle Trask as your starting quarterback. Or just move on from him in this offseason and have Kyle Trask as your starter. But they didn't do that, did they? No, they didn't. All right, Christopher Cole, I would start at $30 million. Don't go past 35, maybe 2 or 3 years. My husband is a better quarterback than Mayfield. I catch it all the time. Thank you. Appreciate it. I love how people say trash instead of Trask when the guy's never actually played. Scott, of course, this front office never shows their hand. There's always a vet every player in the draft. I think they always vet every player in the draft. Thank you, Scott. I think if they could get Baker signed, they're happy with the 3 they have. No way we sign Winston. I love you, Pete. Thank you for tuning in. God, please go away. Go on YouTube and search the type Manis versus Chavez. The British announcer pronounces Manis as anus. It's you read these comments.
This guy sucks.
You guys should charge you for some of these comments you guys put out there. Tim, thank you. It's the funniest thing ever. Plus, it's a good fight. Quick example. At one point, the guy says, my anus is bleeding all over Chavez's chest. Oh, God. Christopher Cole, I believe that Reigns goes to Hollywood after he loses the title at WrestleMania 40. Agree with that. Good stuff, Christopher. Get that hand taken care of, Peter. Will do, Dave. Thank you. Get your some medicine, Peter. I definitely need some medicine, my friend. And put those fingers in a cast if you need it, or at least snap it back into place. That's what I'm afraid of. But I got to tell you right now, the finger does not look good. I will show you again off the. It's this one right here, and it's not going up. Like, it's tough to go up. You can see my whole hand right there where the Rolex is. Yeah. How did I do it? I have no idea. No idea. I don't know. All right. Good night, bro. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate you as always.
Damn it, Jim. What the hell's the matter with you?
You know I'm right. Let's not talk about the Lightning, okay? Didn't do anything at the trade deadline. Surprised by that. 4th round pick, I guess. I bet that's the Anthony Richardson, Troy Polamalu guy. I don't know. Matthew says $20 to $25 million a year. Thanks a lot for participating. Yeah. Let's go out to Christopher Cole. That comment could be Troy, too. It could be. I don't know if it is. It sounds like Cam to me. Happy birthday, Kyle Trask. I believe that you will get your chance in 25. Thank you, Uncle D. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah. Let's see here. William, $30 million a year. Get in 4 years. That would be the best situation. We need to make sure we still have enough cap for other improvements or other areas of the team, like getting a few new offensive linemen, maybe some new linebackers. Side note, not crazy about the mount. We got Mike for Butts. Glad he's with us. Good comment, William. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Always come back. And definitely call in if you like. Oh, yeah. Let's go out to Scott. That's right, brother. Keep the faith. Kyle, God is always on time. As Scott and Mr. Uncle D there, Dwayne Beatty, were friends growing up. Scott, a big-time Bucs fan, so I appreciate you tuning in, my friend. Call in sometime. Always love to hear your analysis, even though we don't always see eye to eye. I can definitely respect your Bucs knowledge. And I always hear these funny stories from, of course, Sandra Nagel, my mother, about you and Uncle D going back and forth when it comes to football. So definitely have to get you two on one of these nights. The funniest thing ever is listening to you read these comments, Peter. I'm glad, I'm glad I could entertain you guys. I really love that. I really love that about this show. This is what it's all about, and I know that free agency is going on, and I know there's a lot of expectations, a lot of concerns with Mike Evans now getting re-signed. It's kind of cooled down a little bit. Antoine Winfield Jr. gets re-signed, so you kind of cool down, but still you have Baker Mayfield. But it's always good, to have, some fun here on the Sports Web, read some comments, and I try to do that as much as I can. With that being said, the top story of the night, according to Pewter Report today, the Bucs are $20 million apart. My question for you guys, you can put it in the comments after I say this, but, how much would you pay Baker Mayfield? How many years? How much a year? You can get on the phone lines and call up 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Also, write in the comments, of course, Facebook stars. Give to the content. If all my Facebook followers would do that, that would be appreciated. And of course, YouTube super chats. Let's move on to turnbuckle talk. Vince McMahon during the week here, revealed Monday in the SEC filing that he sold $412 million in TKO stock. Here comes the money. Here we go. Of course, the company was formed last fall as a holding entity for WWE and UFC, controlled by Endeavor. Mark Shapiro came out today, who is the TKO president, and said McMahon is not coming back to the company. Screw you! You're fired! That's not a surprise with all the allegations that are going on right now that have been a black eye for the WWE and, of course, the Endeavor and TKO. It's not a good look. That's the reason why you most likely brought back Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, to take your mind and the focus of all off of those allegations. So he is not coming back. Let's go on to these comments. Bills are cleaning house just to get under the cap. Yeah, I mean, that's that time of the year where players get cut that you really don't see getting cut. They're getting cut, and you get an opportunity to pick them up. Now, when it comes to the Hall of Fame, congratulations to Mr. Paul Heyman, who was in WCW, who was in ECW, who formed ECW, who was one of the greatest minds in professional wrestling history. Congratulations to him. As, of course, he makes the WWE 2024 Hall of Fame. According to Dave Meltzer, another guy that could be making the Hall of Fame, the guy by the name of Haku, recently Ming in WCW, Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer Radio, if I can say that slower, has been speculation that Haku could be inducted this year. Some recent moves made by the company have perhaps made it more likely to happen. The Rock, who has publicly referred to Haku as his uncle, despite them not technically being related by blood, was recently named to the TKO board of directors. As he is involved in the major WrestleMania storyline with Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Seth Rollins. Also, Meltzer reported that longtime New Japan Pro Wrestling star and Haku's adopted son, Tama Tonga, recently signed with WWE so he could be a part of that bloodline faction, trying to put 2 and 2 together here, putting in Haku Ming. Haku has been long considered one of the toughest people in pro wrestling history. He enjoyed a lengthy and successful career with both WWE and WCW. The 65-year-old was a part of WWE from 85 to 92, debuting as King Tonga before eventually getting named Haku. Haku was given the distinction of King Haku in the late 80s. It was later formed the Colossal Connection with Andre the Giant winning the WWE Tag Team Championships. After leaving WWE in 92, Haku resurfaced in WCW in 94, remained with the company until 2001 under the name Ming. He formed a tag team with the Barbarian called the Faces of Fear and held the WCW Hardcore Championship once. So it may be his time to get into the Hall of Fame. Another one that was listed into the Hall of Fame today, Bull Nakano, who is one of the best female wrestlers of all time. Her classic match is viewed by many as ahead of her time in the terms of physicality and technical prowess. With the WWE Hall of Famer Alundra Blaze, known as who in WCW? Medusa. Put her on the radar of millions of American fans, but it was her work outside of the WWE that garnered her the most notoriety and respect. Before retiring in 97, Bull Nakano was one of the biggest international female stars in wrestling, frequently competing in Japan, Mexico, and countless other promotions. So there you go. If I can say frequent, I don't know. In a recent statement to ESPN, she expressed her gratitude over being inducted in the Hall of Fame during the upcoming WrestleMania weekend. During my active years, I was able to get championship belts in Japan, America, and Mexico, but just one thing was missing. I didn't get inducted into the Hall of Fame. I wanted this. Finally, in 2024 in WrestleMania week, I am able to get this. It is well-deserved honor for one of the best to ever do it. So there you go. That is the Hall of Fame talk there. Of course, now there is intrigue on who is going to be the eventual number one contender for the Ring General's title there, the Intercontinental belt, to Gunther. Of course, Adam Pearce revealed that there will be a gauntlet match on WWE Raw next week to determine the number one contender for the IC title, which includes Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, Shinsuke Nakamura. I got that one right. Ricochet, Bronson Reed, and JD McDonough, also known in many circles as JD McNuggets, with some of the types of wrestling moves he puts out there. Just saying. Sane, to me, could be the guy that wins that match and should win that match. It'd be a compelling option, of course. You got to find something for Sami Zayn. He's definitely over with the crowd. He's paid his dues. Why not have a match versus Gunther for the IC title? Bianca Belair has not been booked for a match for WrestleMania 40, but her idea is to go against who? Jade Cargill. During an appearance on the Gorilla Position podcast, say that 3 times, Belair gave her thoughts on Cargill, the moment that shared the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble match and the possibility of them doing battle on the grandest stage of all. I mean, honestly, of course, you saw the reaction with Jade, right? You know it's the Royal Rumble. We didn't say anything. We didn't do anything. We didn't wrestle. We didn't touch each other. And the crowd was going crazy. I think the Instagram post on WWE had like 9 million views. Give the people what they want, right? Within 2 days. So, I mean, that alone just shows the type of magic that we can create by just standing in the ring. So imagine the magic that we can create, whether it's a single or a tag. Well, who knows what can happen? I don't know if that's this year's WrestleMania. I don't know if it's next year's WrestleMania. But there you go. So what do you think of that? That would be a hell of a match. In fact, I thought that they were going to form a faction eventually. That's what I thought was going to happen. Bobby Lashley, of course, you got Montez Ford, his partner there. And then you've got Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, which would be an amazing faction for Bobby Lashley. Get that whole faction over. Now, John Cena was also talking to some people here. Of course, he was on the Howard Stern show recently this week. And he was also talking to Chris Van Fleet. And he says, go the opposite route when learning. I think they're, hold on a sec here. Okay. I think it's the wrong one here, but I'll go ahead and read this. Go the opposite route. Now learn into the opposite of everything you stand for. And this is what he was talking about, being a heel. He was nearly a heel against The Rock when they first had WrestleMania there in 2012. And he says, go the opposite route, or now learn into the opposite of everything you stand for. So I would begin to not work as hard. I would show up less. I would be untrustworthy and unloyal. I would lack respect in what I did. I would give up a lot. All those things you could take and make interesting stories. And this is the stuff that's running through my head. Now, what moves can I do? It's like, how can I take the intellectual property that people are familiar with and twist it like it's like this guy's effing insane. It's everything I come to love and now I generally hate, and being a real bad guy. And I think that was the conversation that was eventually had when it's like, okay, it's a bad idea. I think a lot of people wanted John Cena at the time to go heel, and he was kind of going heel. And that was real heat between, The Rock and John Cena at the time. Because even Cena talks about this, how he really resented The Rock for not showing up in WWE, for going to Hollywood. And of course, years later, John Cena will be doing the same thing. So that was genuine heat, and that's why that match paid off. Now you kind of wonder, what's going to happen with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins versus The Rock and Roman Reigns. That seems like it's pretty good, genuine heat, pretty good acting. They did a pretty good job of promoting that match. We'll see how it works out. We'll see the big finish. That's what it comes down to. That's why Triple H is so successful with WWE long-term booking. That's what it comes down to in building a WrestleMania match, of course. The long-term booking of it, the telling of the story. And when you have The Rock comes out the other night and does a 31-minute promo and, throws everybody underneath the bus, that's entertaining television. I got to tell you. And that's why it works. And that's why most likely it is going to work going forward, as long as they let those guys tell the story and, they don't have any plot holes in that story. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thanks a lot to Denis Phillips of ABC Action News. Definitely tuned in to him. We'll try to have him on every Wednesday night talking about Tampa Bay sports, the Bucs, of course, the Lightning, the Rays, his favorite team, the legend himself, Leo Haggerty. Congratulations, my friend. You definitely deserve that net from USF. And, of course, best of the Bay, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. Guys, if you want to have your own show here on this network, PHB Studio Network, bring your broadcast to life. Get in touch with me. Inbox me at Peter H. Blake on Facebook if you're interested in doing a recorded podcast. If you're interested in doing a live show with phone calls and sound effects, just like the evolution of sports talk television, get in touch with me. Advertisers out there, I got to tell you, we got 113 people watching tonight on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. They're watching. Why not take advantage of it? Get your business out there. I'll come out there remotely. I'll come out there and give you and show you what the evolution of sports talk television is. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake, and do 3 things for me here on this happy hump day edition of the Sports Web. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake. You're a Rolex reporter. Don't worry. I'm taking myself to the hospital. Of course, giving you something to think about. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay sports fan, it's your time. We'll see you soon here on the Sports Web, the evolution of sports talk television. Have a great night. They've been able to get these deals done. You know, the sky was falling when the Bucs win the Super Bowl and they're able to re-sign all their guys back. The sky is falling. They're able, once again, to re-sign all their guys. The sky is falling with Levante David and Jamel Dean supposedly going somewhere else, and they re-sign them. So I think this is where you have faith in Jason Light and Mike Greenberg and Jacqueline Davidson over there, because they know what they're doing. And Bucs fans, just sit back, relax, put your seatbelt on, because the rumors will be flying about Mike Evans supposedly going to those places that I mentioned in Kansas City, Houston, even the Chicago Bears. But at the end of the day, my prediction right now, it is a lock. Baker Mayfield will come back. Mike Evans will come back. Antoine Winfield will come back. Tristan Wirfs will come back. Levante David will come back. This organization and administration knows what the hell they're doing.